Okay, let's finish up notes 14. We're going to continue and we're going to keep doing the multiplying through by the least common denominator. The nice thing about it is sometimes when you have a single denominator, that's it. That's the least common denominator. And when you have two, it's not too hard to find it either. All right, let's go ahead and I want to get rid of the fraction appearance on this one. So we're going to go ahead and multiply through by the least common denominator, which is 3. So I'm going to multiply every single piece by 3. And again, because I'm working with fractions, I'm going to make them all fractions. Let's clean it up. When I multiply the first term by the least common denominator, the 3's cancel. That's what we wanted to happen. And you end up with 2x plus. When I multiply these together, nothing cancels, so I multiply straight across. 15 over 1 is 15. It's the same thing on this third one, isn't it? 3 times 11 is 33 over 1, which is just going to be 33. Now, I want to get the x's all by themselves on the left. That's the whole idea behind this solving. So I'm going to move the 15 over to the other side. Anything that is added or subtracted onto your x's, you move over. That's going to make that a negative 15 on the other side. 2x will be equal to 33 minus 15, which is 18. Feel free to stop the video if you want to slow that down and do it by hand real quick. I'm going to divide off the 2 because anytime that the very last step is, if you have a number like 2 multiplied onto your x, you unmultiply it, right, which is divide. But if you do it to one side, you do it to the other. We're going to end up with x is equal to 9. Now, these are checkable. You can check them just like you did the ones before. But let's keep going. We're going to multiply number 10 also through by the least common denominator. Luckily, there's only one denominator, so easily we know it's 2. I'm going to multiply the first piece by the 2. I'm going to multiply the second term by the 2. I'm going to multiply the third term by the 2. And clean up. Here, the 2's cancel. They leave behind 1's. And I end up with a negative 3x. That's what we wanted to happen. Minus, multiplying straight across because there's nothing to cancel. 2 times 3 is 6 over 1, which is 6. And here I have, I think that's just supposed to be a negative 3. Oh, sorry about that. I'm going to multiply straight across, and I'm going to end up with a negative 6. All right, now, to get the x's all by, you simplify, there's nothing, all I know now is that in order to get the x's all by themselves on the left, that negative 6 is going to have to be moved over because it is added or subtracted onto my x's. I'm going to move it over, that's going to become a plus 6. So now I have negative 3x is equal to negative 6 plus 6, which is 0. Last step to get the x all by itself, because it's got a negative 3 multiplied onto it, I'm going to divide. But if I do it to one side, I have to do it to the other. On the left, the negative 3's cancel, and I get x equals 0 divided by any number is 0. It is okay to get a 0 as an answer. All right, on numbers 11 and 12, we do have to find our least common denominator first, so let's do that. For 1/2 and 1 1/4, I'm going to start with the biggest number, 4. And find some multiples, 8 and so forth. But this one I can already tell the 2 divides into the 4. So my least common denominator is 4. Let's multiply everything by 4 over 1. 4 over 1 times 1/2 x plus 4 over 1 times 1/4 equals 4 over 1 times 6. Remember, you multiplied onto every single piece. Let's see here. The 4 and the 2 reduce by a factor of 2 to 1 and 2. When I multiply straight across, I end up with 2x. Here, the 4's reduce by a factor of 4. 4 divided by 1 is going to leave a 1 and a 1 there, or you can say they cancel. When I multiply straight across, I get 1 over 1, which is just 1. Same thing over here. Nothing cancels, so I multiply straight across. I get 24 over 1, which is just 24. Now it is a much nicer problem. I'm going to start by getting the x's all by themselves on the left. When I move the positive 1 over the equal sign over to the other side, I get a negative 1. So now I have 2x is equal to 24 minus 1. Got to clean up. That's going to be 23. After dividing, because now I want to get the x all by itself, and it's got a 2 multiplied onto it. To take it off, you unmultiply, which is divide. But if I do it to one side, do it to the other side. The 2's cancel, and I get x is equal to 23 halves. Remember, don't miss class. This is so much easier when your instructor is lecturing it to you so you can ask questions. And videos are nice for a review, but you don't want to have to learn it off the videos. Always make sure you make it to class. All right, here I'm going to start with the largest value in order to find my least common denominator, 6. And I'm kind of suspicious, so I look at it and I think 2 divides into 6 and 3 divides into 6. So without a lot of effort, I have my least common denominator. I'm going to multiply each term by 6. And again, I make it into a fraction because when I'm dealing with fractions, it's just easier if everything is a fraction. The cool thing about it is by multiplying through by the least common denominator, you're getting rid of all of them. All right, on the first term, when you multiply by the least common denominator, the 6's cancel, leave behind 1's. So I end up with a negative 5x when I multiply straight across. For the second term, 6 divides into 2. Let's see, 6 divided by 2 is 3. So, I can divide both terms in the diagonal by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 2 divided by 2 is 1. When I multiply straight across, I get negative 3 over 1, which is minus 3. Equal sign comes down. 6 and 3 also have a factor of 3 in common. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 3 divided by 3 is 1. When I multiply straight across, I get 2 over 1, which is 2. Look how much nicer that equation is. I'm going to start by getting everything away from the x. Because I'm moving the negative 3 over, because it's subtracted, it becomes a plus 3 when it crosses over the equal sign. Now I have negative 5x is equal to 2 plus 3, which is 5. After dividing both sides by negative 5, because anything that's multiplied on, we have to divide off, and that's always the very last thing you do. You're going to end up with x is equal to negative 1. And what the heck, let's do a really quick check on this one. Since it's our last one, we have negative 5 over 6, parentheses, minus 1/2 equals 1/3. When I plug the negative 1 in there, I'm going to end up with negative 5/6 times negative 1, which is a positive 5/6, minus 1/2 equals 1/3. On the left-hand side, I want to get it to see if it's equal to 1/3, so I'm going to get a common denominator. I can tell that for 6 and 2, the common denominator is going to be 6. 5 over 6 already has the right denominator. To get the right denominator on a 1/2, I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 3. 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 3 is 6. Finally, 5 minus 3 is 2 over 6, which is 1/3. It checks out, you guys. That's it. I'll see you in the next section.